Prediction Markets Edge on the early line. It's a Tuesday. More fun here. We got so many hot topics to get through, so many games to get through, and a different way to invest your money. From sports books to the prediction markets, we got you covered on the early line. It's time to get started, Joe, giving the people what they want.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're getting to that point,
Yes.
Donnie, where we'll have some opportunities for some hedging or doubling down now in some of these predictive markets in the postseason. We still have two games, two series that are tied 2-2. Which one has the value here? We got a lot to go over here today.
The Knicks and OKC sitting back waiting, going, take your time, other series. We're going to rest up and get ready for our finals run here. But, Joe, there's always that term. If you can't beat them, join them. Let's use it right now. Front Office Sports sent a tweet out. DraftKings and FanDuel are pushing further into the prediction markets. Critics say their market-making moves show there is a, quote, house in prediction market trading. DraftKings, FanDuel, trading markets. How about that?
Donnie, they've been talking about it forever. I think they just kind of held off to see what was going to happen in the courts, if anything was going to happen there. But now that professional sports leagues are partnering with predictive markets, it's not going away. So you either, if you can't beat them, Donnie, you might as well join them. And the market is real. And yeah, there's going to be a lot more coming up here.
There is. Dustin Gawker sent out a tweet here. Combos and parlays are close to becoming a third of Kalshi volume. Here is the mix of volume by market type over the trailing 7 days here, which is exotics and combos. Effectively, Joe, 85 to 90% of volume at Kalshi is still sports. If you hear someone say sports as a category is decreasing, nonsense.
Oh, no, it's growing. And it should here. But again, the key is don't treat the predictive markets like a sports book. There's a lot of better avenues and markets that you can very quickly double, triple your bankroll here if you do it the right way.
By the way, Dustin Gawker going to appear today on the SportsGrid Network in the noon hour with Craig Mish on Newswire. Make sure you check out all the latest information coming out there and get even more information on these predictive markets. Let's flip it over to the games on the court tonight. I told you, Joe, I like those Spurs. They're going to take on the Timberwolves. 2-2 series tied. Back to San Antonio. We go 8 p.m. standalone game. Love to see that here. And a heavy favorite for the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby will play in this game. No suspension for the elbow of all elbows in the last game, which had an ejection and showed the Timberwolves the light to win that game. 76% chance here, currently trading here on Kalshi for the San Antonio Spurs to win this game. But if you look at the 10.5 points, Joe, which I do like, how about this? Win by 11 for San Antonio. It's plus money, $100 investment. That pays back $205. Get it done, boys.
Yeah, it's interesting, Donnie, because we've seen now, San Antonio did win one game rather easily, right? Game 2, they bounced back after a slow start in game 1. They won that one rather easily. Game 3 was close for a little while. It feels like these games have been a little bit closer than what the markets have portrayed San Antonio to be, this big juggernaut and run over everyone. But where they've really missed the boat, Donnie, is in the totals. Because outside of that first game where we were still trying to figure out who was hurt, who wasn't with Anthony Edwards, that was the lowest scoring game of this series. Everything else has gone flying over the total. And I think that's the market to look. I would begin to ladder up the total here, Donnie. I would not be shocked if we get mid 220s in this game at all tonight.
And also, if you want Minnesota to win this basketball game, yes, Anthony Edwards probably has to have a great game, but also Julius Randle. Take a look at Randle, only to score 15-plus points tonight. It's a little juice at a $100 investment, pays back $164, but Julius Randle goes for 12 points tonight. That's a blowout victory for the San Antonio Spurs tonight. Let's flip it over to hockey, the NHL. Buffalo Sabres, Montreal Canadiens. The Canadiens have a 2-1 series lead, looking to take a commanding 3-1 series lead if they get the job done tonight. 7 o'clock puck drop there in Montreal tonight. And the favorite, yes, it is the Canadiens, currently trading to a yes contract, Joe, of 57 cents, which means Canadians win this game on the Kalshi Marketplace. The return on investment, $176 here. Sabres need a stand, or is it going to be the Canadiens taking that 3-1 series lead tonight, Joe?
Yeah, and this is huge, and it's probably one of the last opportunities maybe to jump into the series market if you like the Canadians here. If you think the Canadians can make it, then you've got two markets there, Donnie. Not only the series market here to handle business against Buffalo, but you also have the Eastern Conference market too. Who's going to be the champion there or Carolina? There's a lot of different ways to approach not only who do you think is going to win this game tonight, Donnie, but parlaying that into some of the other future markets here as far as series and, of course, the conference championship. I don't think Buffalo's going down without a fight, which is why I would look at the total again tonight. I think we're getting goals, a lot of goals, in fact, in this one.
It's a great series. Would love an extended series, but if you can handle your home ice advantage here, you win these series. You already saw Montreal win a game on the road against Buffalo. Now Montreal looking to go back-to-back in Montreal with wins on their home ice. Talking about home ice advantage, it's been big out in the Western Conference, Joe. We now have Anaheim and Vegas going back to Vegas 2-2 right now, and looks like it's a best of three on the way out. But if we take a look at the odds tonight, a 57% chance that Vegas wins this game. The yes contract currently trading on Kalshi at 58 cents, which means a $100 investment, Joe, would pay back $173 tonight. Home ice has been big in the series. Can Vegas win this game in Vegas and take that 3-2 series lead?
Yeah, well, I would like to know what Mark Stone's status is for Game 5 here. He did leave Game 3, did not play in that last game. So, he is the captain of this Vegas Knights team, and they certainly missed him last game. Would love to know if he's able to give it a go here tonight. I think he will. Early reports believe that he is going. And if he does, again, this is another one of those games, Donnie, where I liked Vegas to win this series. Now that it's 2-2, I can get Vegas not only tonight, but to win the series at a better price than they've been since Game 1. So that's how I'm jumping in on the series price as well as the Western Conference Finals price. And I think they handle business here tonight. I think Mark Stone goes as well.
One game in the NBA, Joe, two games in the NHL. Now let's flip it over to a full slate in Major League Baseball here. Philadelphia and Boston. The Phillies invade Boston to take on the Red Sox. Phillies playing much better baseball as of late. Won actually 4 series in a row here. Boston still struggling a bit, and Philadelphia is the favorite tonight, Joe. A 56% chance on the Kalshi marketplace. They win this game with Zach Wheeler on the mound taking on Bayo. So if we look other places here, Joe, player props. You can do that on Kalshi. You know who's been swinging a hot bat, home runs left and right? It's Kyle Schwarber. Take him to hit a home run tonight, Joe. That yes contract, 24 cents. A $100 wager pays back $4.17 for one crack of the bat.
Can't go wrong. I mean, listen, two teams going two different directions, two different starting pitchers, too. Bayo has just been giving up way too much hard contact. He has a trouble getting out of the first couple of innings. That's when he's worse. I think the Phillies tattoo him early and often. And I think Wheeler can hold the fort down here certainly long enough. I like them in the first 5. I think the Phillies get out in front and play from in front in this game.
Is Schwarber and Harper, the two big cogs on the top of that lineup, getting things fired up here. We'll see if they can do the same in Boston tonight. Detroit going to take on the New York Mets. The Mets, 15-25 on the season, 4 games in the basement in the NL East, and I believe 12.5 games back from the Atlanta Braves. Things are getting late early, as we like to say, but the Mets are a favorite tonight, Joe. Currently trading at 57% to win this game versus the Detroit Tigers. So if you take the yes contract out on the Mets to win, a $100 investment pays back $173. Peralta's on the mound. You got to start winning sooner than later. Can they do it tonight, Joe?
And he's been better than obviously his record might indicate. His numbers are very good. Flaherty has not been good for Detroit. Walking far too many guys. The hard contact is there. It's a good opportunity for the Mets to get it rolling, which is why exactly they're priced the way they are. I think the Mets win this one and get off on the right foot.
Got to start getting some of that back. Come on, Soto, start hitting. Bichette, you got to start hitting the Big Apple. I know it's tough at this point, but if you figure the offenses do struggle early on, Joe, you can bet yes run in the first inning or no run in the first inning, currently trading at 48 cents here to score a run. More hot topics on the way on PME coming up next. Don't let them in, they say, Joe. Prediction Markets Edge on the early line. You know we're at the forefront here in the SportsGrid network of letting you understand the prediction markets and how it can work to your advantage. But understand this, too. Vegas is very interesting, which they had a monopoly on sports gambling for a long time. It was back in the early 1990s. They were going to let New Jersey into the equation, but New Jersey couldn't get their act together, so Vegas had a domination there. So, hey, if you want to gamble on sports legally, you got to come to Las Vegas. Now, you take a look at Las Vegas fighting tooth and nail to keep the prediction markets out as well, Joe. Nevada is now cracking down on prediction market conferences. A major Vegas hotel terminated a prediction market conference by top traders after the gaming board threatened to revoke their license here, Joe. And this shows you, hey, man, we don't want anything new. Let's keep it in Vegas here. You got to expand, and you got to make more money. You got to have new markets in place, Joe. But Vegas is telling like, no, old people win here. Keep them out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it took Vegas a very long time to get Uber there. It took Vegas, they are, nobody lives in the rearview mirror quite like Vegas, who seems to think that the people no longer coming to their city are just opting to do other things. No, it's because you just haven't come along with the times here, Donnie. And the reality is the prediction markets are here to stay. So either get on board and evolve with the market and what everyone else is doing, or you'll die, which is usually what happens in evolution.
Yeah, Vegas attendees, or should I say visitors to the city, have been dropping. And understand this, too. A big part of the allure of Las Vegas, and I only say back in the day, Joe, 15, 20 years ago, go out there, get a quality meal, a decent hotel rate at a really nice place, be able to gamble up and down the strip and enjoy yourself. Now it's just gouging left and right, where most of the enjoyment from, let's just say, guys who are 21 years old to 30 years old, not married. Hey, man, you know what's fun about Vegas? We can legally sports gamble here, have some fun, and go up and down. Now on a Saturday, you're sitting at home, and I don't know what state you're in. Let's just call it New Jersey. Why am I flying out to Vegas this weekend where I can just open up my phone and actually gamble, do the same things? Expand or die, as Joe's saying. We'll see if that happens here. Now, the MVP in the WNBA. Yeah, sure, you can bet on that here. But how about the Kalshi predictive markets? Also, you can get down. A'ja Wilson, one of the best players in the WNBA, currently at a 36% chance to be the MVP. Caitlin Clark, always going to be getting that money. 24%. Paige Beckers at 18% here, Joe. Is it A'ja all the way? And even if Caitlin Clark has a great season, then they just say, nah, not going to give it to you. We're going to give it to A'ja again.
It feels like A'ja Wilson, as long as she is playing, Donnie, she can win the MVP. She should be considered. Caitlin Clark, injury concerns now we got to worry about, but I would not fade A'ja Wilson at this particular point. Will there be some, fatigue here with always voting for her as MVP? We get that in the NBA. I don't know that we're going to get that in the WNBA. I wouldn't fade her at this point.
By the way, did you see, I think it was like boardroom.com or whatever. It's like, hey, by the way, Caitlin Clark's the fourth most marketable player in the WNBA. I mean, come on. We want you to take it seriously. Take yourself seriously as well at this point. It's okay to have great players in the league, but also pushing one down. Like I said, the joke, opening day didn't include the Fever. They opened up at 1 o'clock on a Saturday. Their game number 2 is on the West Coast, a 10:30 p.m. start. Not a national spotlight game. Make it make sense? Sometimes it doesn't. Rookie of the year. Usually, Joe, it's supposed to be a runaway with the number 1 overall pick. AZ Fudd had 3 points in her opener here, and we'll see how she's going to fare throughout her rookie season. Olivia Miles, the heavy favorite right now, Joe. 59% chance. Flau'jae Johnson, 12%, the superstar from LSU, followed by Fudd and Betts behind them. But Miles out early here.
That cracks me up that she's that low a price, Donnie, because she's an absolute... she is, without a doubt, going to be in this. This is a buy low market and sell high. We will be talking about her a lot this season. I think it's a criminal number, and I'm absolutely looking to invest in her right now.
By the way, May 10th at 5 a.m., Joe, she was trading at 72% here, now back down to 59%. Understand this too, Joe. We're like a game, 2 games into the season. Like, found her. She's going to be one. and see what happens. So a long way to go. Injuries do happen, and other players just rounding into form as a rookie. They should be able to move up and or down depending on their performances on a night-to-night basis. Women's pro basketball playoff qualifiers, which means who's going to get to the playoffs. Look at the Liberty, 95% chance to get that done. Atlanta, 88%. Indiana, 87%, and so forth, Joe. Is there a team down on that list that maybe you can say the Sky rebuilding, 42%, $100 investment pays $239 if they make the playoffs, Joe? Or don't outsmart yourself. Just stay up top, pick a couple dollars in your back pocket.
Feels like a chalky market, but maybe a flyer on Dallas is not a bad look, as they, they ended up being pretty darn impressive with a whole. You mentioned the number 1 draft pick there. They got some scoring on that team. I think Dallas could surprise a few teams this year.
Top seed in the WNBA. The interesting part about this on the Kalshi marketplace here, it's an emerging market. So you look at some teams with Atlanta to the yes at 92 cents here, Dallas at 40 cents. You go down and say, wait a second. You just told us here one of the teams that's supposed to make it into the playoffs easiest is the Liberty here. You push their yes, Joe, and you say, you know what? I want to invest $100. Tells you, good luck with that. We don't even have a market yet for them. So emerging markets still making their way in. Some teams you can get down on, Joe. Some teams you can't.
I don't mind Atlanta or Dallas, for that matter, in that market there. But, yeah, I mean, they're telling you with the Liberty, let's be realistic. They're laughing at you. They're like, no, you can't make this bet. It's not happening.
And I'll tell you, take a look at other Kalshi marketplace options to invest your money. How about just on the basketball champion here for the WNBA? We just told you a team that should automatically make the playoffs due to a non-disastrous season is the Liberty. Same thing here, Joe. 32% they are currently trading at here as a chance to win the WNBA. The yes contract also listed at 32 cents. Vegas right behind them, technically at 17%. Indiana, Atlanta, Minnesota, so on and so forth here. But New York running as the hot favorite early on through a game or two into the season.
And they'll be good. Listen, Minnesota was there a year ago. They should absolutely be considered also here. There's some value on that board early on. But like you said, Donnie, we're just starting out here with the season. A lot of basketball still to be played.
A lot of basketball and a lot of injuries as well. We talk a lot, Joe, about taking the yes contracts out on these teams. You think New York's going to be the best team. They're heavily favored to do that. But also, you can take a no contract out if you feel that things don't go as well as planned here for New York. And also, talk about the regular season where they might stumble a bit. $100 investment pays back $145 back. You say, well, I don't know if I like that. But again, they can still win the championship, Joe, and you can still be profitable in that market if they don't have a great regular season. I mean, heck, the Dodgers last year didn't have the best record in Major League Baseball, still ended up winning a World Series at this point. A lot of stuff happening. We bring in the information. Prediction Markets Edge on TEL.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Manager, hitting coach, bench coach, assistant hitting coach, third base coach, hitting strategy, and game planner here. It's almost like a line change in hockey, Craig.
Some of these questions that have to be asked, Donnie, would be, what did you think a month ago, Donnie, right? Like right before the season started, did you think that these coaches were the answer to your season? Because if not, why did you wait all off season to make a change like that?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Teams are going to be tanking. Now, instead of 14 tanking, 18 will be tanking. You know what solves this, show? Keep it at 18 teams. All 18. One ping pong ball. No more, no less. Don't care about the record. You know what that solves, Joe? Tanking. They won't tank anymore. There's no incentive to tank. This gives you incentive to tank. You idiot.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Number one, who asked for this? nobody asked for a bump up in the number of teams in both the men and the women's basketball tournament from 68, including the 4 play-in teams, to 76. And by the way, it looks like it is a near-done deal. ESPN and ABC News reported this morning that's very close to being done. It could be announced by the end of this week.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Whether you're fading the public or fading the market, we get the job done on Prediction Markets Edge on TEL and have a lot of fun doing that. So let's run the stinger. Who we fading today, boys? Look, we don't want to hear about the French Open. We don't want to hear about Eurovision and the best song. We want Rotten Tomatoes, which means movies, and also getting political with the Trump cabinet, Joe. That's what the people want. That's what they're going to get today.
Well, listen, I mean, these are two markets that they selected, Donnie, that are very heavily influenced by narratives and headlines and perception. So these aren't some of the more traditional markets. These are all about narratives.
Politics, narratives here. Trump can on a day-to-day basis. You got to catch him on a good day. Otherwise, you might be out of a job here. Loved Pam Bondi. Said, you know what? You're going to be the AG, and then you're not the AG. Take a look at Tulsi Gabbard right now. Is she in the crosshairs? The reason I say that, Joe, who will leave Trump's cabinet next? 37% chance that Tulsi Gabbard is out. She's the favorite over Howard Lutnick and Pete Hegseth here, who's coming in around 10%. Is it Tulsi, Joe?
Well, listen, it's politics. So these markets are going to be influenced by whatever the next headline is going to be about there being friction, whether it's true or not, Donnie. And quite honestly, in these markets, I don't care who it is. I just care that I get the right price for the right person before the headline comes out, so I can get out of this market once it gets repriced because of those headlines and the narrative. So these kinds of markets are very volatile. They're not markets I want to be invested in long term, but for the short term, ride the wave, ride the narrative, buy low and get out while you can and sell high.
Midterms coming up, Joe, in November this year. Huge political value to be gained or lost here. How about when will a member of Trump's cabinet leave? If you want to shake things up to me, Joe, gotta be October or before. That's currently trading at a 55% chance. The yes contract 58, which means a $100 investment pays back 173. No doubt in my mind, somebody's going to leave that cabinet before October 2026 for me, Joe.
Likely going to happen, Donnie. But again, then the question you have to ask yourself, is there enough of a spread there? Is there enough to make it worth investing until somebody does? Because don't forget, you got to tie that money up, Donnie, until it happens. At that point, that's not a market that I'm crazy about being. And even though you know, Donnie, it's going to likely happen, is there enough of a return to tie up your capital?
How about the Odyssey? Rotten Tomatoes score here. Say, why are we dipping in the movies here? Because you asked for it here. And if you haven't been hearing about the controversy coming with this movie, with certain individuals playing certain, players back in the day, if you will, the Rotten Tomatoes score, Joe, we take a look down. It's going to be, above 85. It's currently trading at 55%. I think a lot of people are going to try to throw some tomatoes at the screen on this one, Joe. What do you think?
Why? I don't know. A lot of people not very happy. And again, very volatile market, Donnie. And this is one of those markets where we talk about in the sports books. Like, listen, chase the steam. These Rotten Tomato markets are absolutely the ones that I want to do. At 67 cents right now, above 70, I tend to think that is where it is at this point here. Like, that's where we're going to go. If you're looking for less than that, these are not the kinds of markets I want to take flyers and go, I'll go contrarian. These kinds of markets know exactly what it is that they're doing.
Juno is playing Achilles here coming up in the Odyssey. Get ready for that, because Christopher Nolan says this could be the biggest film of his career or the biggest flop. We're going to know sooner than later here once we start to get some of those ratings that are coming out here. Now, I want to flip toward the next one here, Joe. The Devil Wears Prada 2, Rotten Tomato score. I got to tell you, The Devil Wears Prada is on a lot. If you're just flipping around the channels, I don't care. I love that movie. I'm going to see The Devil Wears Prada 2. No doubt in my mind. Meryl Streep out here, Anne Hathaway. Love The Devil Wears Prada. About time we got a number 2 here.
Yeah, I know, but I believe this market's already been determined. I believe this is already a market that, yeah, it finished above 72, above. It did not. I think it's 76, I think is where it landed, Donnie. So anything under 76, you are good to go there. I've heard, believe it or not, I know a couple of people, shockingly enough, that saw this and said it's worth the price of admission. So go figure. Maybe it's a sequel that is worth watching.
By the way, is Vinny Chase back in this one too? Like, I mean, I'm sure they're bringing back the entire cast and party, but they did break up and sort of get back together in number 1. And by the way, the outcome on this one, Joe, was 77 here. So there you go. They only asked the question. The tomato score was above 45. The outcome was 77. Love it.
Carl Anthony Towns makes an appearance.
Whoa.
Carl Anthony Towns.
Really?
Yes. Yes, in it from what I understand.
Who had that on the bingo card? In the movie? Yeah, he might have been complaining about fouls in the movie here at this point. But I will be seeing that. It is out. The market's already closed. Doesn't matter. Your boy's checking it out here. And that'll do it for PME on TEL. We'll see you on a Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.